Hey, listen, fuckhead. You know, you can do whatever you want to do. You can put me on mute. You can turn the goddamn channel for all I care. What the fuck are you doing? And you're listening to us now. So obviously you hit the fucking mute switch tonight, asshole.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the Royal Grumble. I am your host, Graeme, and I'm in La La Land today. It's a pleasure to be here. You're looking at me. You're looking at me like that, Daryl. You're not. Nothing's going to change. This is how it's going to be for the next hour.
Okay.
So, just.
I think we need to work on his wellness policy.
You guys have moved around. I just realised, of course. So
the whole room's moved around.
Yeah. Well, my point is now in the corner to my left, fighting for freedom, justice, liberty, and the American pursuit of happiness. This is Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Hello.
Hi. I'm never sure if I should call you Daniel or Dan. Are you really bothered?
I prefer Dan.
Dan it is then. And sit to the right, like the US title, everybody's held him at some point. It's Daryl.
The thing is, Graeme, I've come up with an intro for you this week.
Oh, all right, you're right.
So, in conjunction with WWE's new partners competing in the Special Olympics, going for gold, it's Graeme.
Oh, look what you did there.
Everyone's a winner in that one, Graeme.
That's offensive to people.
I don't care.
Oh, I know. You really enjoyed the. No, I can't. I'm gonna literally now scraping to find a different news story to transition into now because I feel like if I make the joke I'm gonna make, it'll probably get us in a lot of trouble.
No one listens, so it's fine.
Brock Lesnar's on the cover of WWE 2K17 even.
Yeah, it doesn't really mean much, does it? I mean, it's good, but like whatever.
I like to think because you remember that thing they said a while ago. It was when CM Punk was doing his like Moni interview. And he was like, he was on the cover of WWE 13.
Yeah.
And he said that THQ went to WWE and said, we're going to put CM Punk on the cover. And they went, no, you don't want to do that. No, Sheamus. Who's buying a box with Sheamus on it? Sheamus' mom is like, oh, well, I've already got plenty of pictures of you, son.
Yeah,
in Irish
plus
accent.
like ginger in it. So.
Anyone else you going for this week, Daryl? Special Olympics gingers?
I've covered 2 disabilities there.
Phenomenal. Speaking of disabilities, What Culture Pro Wrestling?
Oh, are we just launching into this now?
Well, I tell you what. Have either of you got anything to say about Raw?
Not really, no.
Well, the one thing I did want to say about Raw was that they addressed the elephant in the room straight away. Only did they really? Because they came out and Seth Rollins was like, oh, no one's supposed to let me talk about Roman Reigns, but I'm going to talk about him anyway. Here's the tweet that's loaded up on the screen.
Yeah.
So, you're not allowed to talk about him, but now that you have, well, we'll just load up his tweet on the screen and let you talk about it from it. And even then, it was like, oh, he's suspended. Oh, he's bad. And Ambrose was like, no, he's all right. He just made a mistake. Everybody made a mistake. Where do you think they go from here? Do you think this means that they're just going to carry on with their... Do you think they're going to carry on with their whole Roman's the face of the company thing?
Yes.
Or, yeah?
Yeah.
Seems like it, doesn't it? I thought it actually might change something. The lead star being on drugs. Drugs are bad.
It depends what he's tested for, doesn't it?
Yes, but they don't reveal it, do they?
Yeah. There was a rumour going around today that it was marijuana and amphetamines.
It'd have to be synthetic marijuana because the real one don't get you.
Amphetamines do, though.
Oh, okay.
So it might be like a pre-workout that has something in, that type of fit bullshit. That's why they're kind of taking it easy on him and not, like, they're actually mentioning him and he's still got his title shot and all that stuff.
He still failed.
It's still a cheat. Like, in the grand, obviously, wrestling's predetermined, yada yada. But in the grand scheme of things, he's still a druggie. I don't care what drug it is. I don't care if it's something banned by their substance policy. He's a cheat.
Yep.
Yeah. It's really hard to tell because they don't announce what it is, and you're not going to get any indication from him because he's such a
It don't matter what it is, though, does it? Because they're not banning him for taking Coca-Cola.
Yeah, they do have
they're banning him for taking like performance-enhancing substances or illegal drugs.
Like I'll use the UFC example. I know their testing's way more stringent than WWE's is, but then you've had a case with a fighter called Yoel Romero, who he tested positive for a steroid, and he claimed I hadn't taken it. The only thing I've changed is this supplement. And they got an unopened copy thing of this supplement and took it to them. they tested it and it did have this steroid in it without being listed on the packaging. So he got his suspension taken down from 2 years to 6 months. So things like that do happen. You've got BJ Penny's just been suspended for using an IV out of competition. Like, I know their testing's a lot more stricter, but there is things like this. It should still carry a punishment. Yeah, he still used a substance that's banned. He should be more careful. It's his responsibility. But at the same time, I do feel like it's going to be more one of those cases. And the fact that WB has completely ignored pretty much everyone and saying, we don't want this guy, and carried on with him, this isn't going to stop them either.
This is the thing with the Roman Reigns thing, is like, it's these people, they have to be role models in some way or another, especially if WWE are going to continue this idea of selling to kids, you know, selling these like larger than life superstars as role models for children. I said it when we did our show about Roman Reigns, and I stand by it. How can you put him on a lunchbox now and sell a kid? There's your hero. Don't worry about the fact that he did drugs and all the cheating and that. It'd be fine. Like, I don't see many Lance Armstrong lunchboxes out these days.
There was a ton of Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio ones, though.
Yeah, but like
they both
even
tested
then,
quite a few times, and Randy Orton's definitely one of the
Did
faces.
Rey Mysterio? When did Rey Mysterio?
Rey Mysterio's tested positive, I'm sure.
Did he?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Allegedly.
I will find
Randy
it.
Orton definitely did, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, because Randy Orton's the one who's tested positive a few times, and they come up with the whole time frame thing where, like, oh, you got to test 3 times within this time frame. Yeah, he's been suspended twice because he got a 60-day suspension on his last one in 2012.
Fuck.
Did it say what it was for?
No. Yeah, that was his second strike. His first one was 2009.
Do I have to sing my song again to suggest what it was?
Well, you got to do it to Rey Mysterio's name.
No, I'm not doing that.
Oh, okay. Boyaka, crack cocaine. Boyaka.
I was thinking more along the lines of Boyaka 420 or something along those lines. Do you remember when him and Rob Van Dam did that double leg drop, and they were like, they call this the 420 because that's the combined size of their shoes. I was like, fuck off. That's the biggest load of bollocks you have ever fucking seen. Bret Hart was complaining about something, of course he was. What do you think Bret Hart was complaining about this week?
Kids on his lawn.
I sort of meant it in a more public forum, but okay, yeah, it probably was.
Because Goldberg booted him in the head, and now he's in WWE 2K17.
No, it wasn't that. No, better than that. He feels like Curtis Axel deserves a bigger push.
Do you want to do the show yourselves? Because I don't know if I've got the energy to...
Have you got somewhere to go? Montreal, maybe?
Yeah.
No, he lives in Florida now, doesn't he?
Like,
Yeah.
He deserves a bigger push. Is that what he said?
Yeah, basically he said...
well, he turns up to wrestle in like shorts you can buy from Primark for a kickoff. Secondly, right, he's going bald as fuck. It's like, I know I want to talk, but like, I'm not trying to be a wrestler.
No.
Like clinging onto my hair. Like, I'd just shave it off. Like, if I were a wrestler, to be honest.
He's not clinging onto his hair. He's clinging onto the hat that he's put over the hair that's gone away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's got a shit name. It's better than Michael McGillicuddy, but it's still a shit name. And that's not entirely his fault, but still, it's part of the package.
But when are we going to get the genesis of the beginning of the beginning of the genesis of the revival of the genesis of the beginning of McGillicuddy?
Curtis Hennig.
What?
Well, isn't it? What's his real first name?
Joe.
Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
See, yeah. Joe Hennig.
See, he's not
Hennig.
even interested enough to remember the real name of
Hennig.
Hennig. Yeah. I think they do pronounce it Hennig though.
No, it's not like an N at end. It's Hennig.
Oh, is that what you heard?
Yeah, when Kurt were alive, me and Kurt Hennig were friends. He's Mr. Perfect. I'm Mr. Not Quite As Perfect, but close.
I feel like your name is slightly more cumbersome.
Yeah, that's probably why Mr. Perfect had a better career.
There you go then.
Yeah.
That explains a lot. Yeah.
Because I weren't quite as perfect, but close.
No. I thought you were Dynamite myself.
I was Dynamite.
When you wrestled for 1PW.
I don't know any money. This is like Pavlov's dog.
What? I don't know what that is. Explain.
What?
The thing where you ring the bell.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. I did know that. I was thinking of Schrödinger's cat for a second.
But you obviously know what Schrödinger's cat is if you mentioned that as well.
I don't know what Schrödinger's cat is. But I know what Pavlov's dog is.
Schrödinger's cat is basically where you put a cat in a box with a lethal radiation atom and you close the box, and theoretically at that time the cat is either alive or dead because you don't know if it's alive or dead until you open the box.
It exists in both states at the same time. It's a thought experiment.
But it'll be dead though, won't it?
No, because the radioactivity might not have affected the cat yet, so it could still be alive in the box. It could be dead. But
how long are you leaving it in the box? How long are you leaving it in the box for?
I feel like you're missing the point here.
It might starve to death. Wrestling.
Let's talk about something equally as confusing.
I literally, right, obviously we do the show every week. I literally avoided this after I knew that you'd both watched it because I want to enjoy your reactions to it.
The whole thing with it was I sent you guys a message saying, oh, What Culture are putting up their first episode of their TV show tonight. We should probably cover it because there was a lot of good coverage from their TV show, from the recording of it, and a lot of the wrestlers would talk about how great an atmosphere it was and all this stuff. And, What Culture do have a big reach, so you think, oh, they could probably do quite well. And by all accounts, the viewing figures off the YouTube video so far are quite big. I don't think any UK promotion can match, 100,000 views in one evening for the matches.
Whoa. Are you implying that UKW couldn't do that as well?
Definitely not.
Yeah, you better not.
UKW were actually on TV and couldn't get those figures.
I thought you were. I thought you were just saying you weren't implying it. So you're not only not implying it, you're outright stating it.
As far as I know, yeah.
I
what
about Leeds Professional Wrestling?
Was that a thing?
I don't want to get into that. You know what it is.
If you mention something on the door, you get free pie and peas.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
these
right,
are just references for 4 people.
We're catering to them, though. It's a good thing for them.
So I sent you guys the message, and I watched the show, and I instantly sent you a message saying, "Don't bother."
I did.
Yeah, but you watched it.
You were more excited about watching it after that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Right. I'm a big fan of Kayfabe Commentary's Guest Booker series. This is going somewhere, by the way. I'm not just changing topic because I don't want to talk about What Culture. Right. You guys are aware of the Guest Booker series, aren't you? We all know what it is. Yeah,
I'm a fan of it too.
Yeah. In that series, a lot of people are found out on that series. Jim Cornette being prime example, where everyone thinks he's a genius. He turns up. He can't do a guest booker because he just fucks it himself. Bearing in mind, he can do whatever he wants on it. He just fucks it. And then he's found out for being a fraud.
Wasn't he the one who did the invasion, and the main event of the invasion was Hulk Hogan against Dusty Rhodes?
That was one of the matches that was put himself on the card. So he was managing Dusty Rhodes and Jimmy Hart was managing Hogan. I think the main event was a WWF-led Austin versus a WCW-led Mick Foley. Oh. The opening angle of that feud was to have Ric Flair come down and offer himself out to do shoot fights with WWF wrestlers. So that gives you an example of the genius of Jim Cornette.
Doesn't Kevin Owens hate him?
Kevin Owens hates his fucking guts.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure Jim Cornette was like, "Yeah, you're never gonna do anything, mate. You're too."
Yeah, same with Generico, Sami Zayn.
You're never gonna do anything, mate. Too slim.
The Young Bucks.
Yep, it's too small.
Yeah, and then the other two, Steve Corino and Colt Cabana. Because they were all involved in a feud together. Well, apart from the Young Bucks, the other 4 were involved in a feud together, and Jim Cornette just told them they were shit pretty much and didn't pay any attention, so they got away with a lot.
Yeah, was that when he was booking Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
And the minute that he got sacked, they brought in Kevin Steen and El Generico back to do a match because that's what people wanted to see. Wonder where did those two end up?
I know where Kevin Steen is. He's Kevin Owens in WWF. I don't know where El Generico's gone.
He works in an orphanage now.
All right. Anyway, sorry, you were saying about the guest booker.
Yeah, okay. So what culture WWE or What Culture Wrestling, the YouTube channel, they do a series called How I Would Have Booked.
Yeah.
Which is this Adam Blampy.
I genuinely don't remember which one's which. I know one of them's British, is one of them American? It's the main Adam one.
Yeah,
the one
Adam
that's on most of the stuff.
Blampy or Blampede or what? Blampy, right, okay. That's
not a real name.
Is it not?
I'm calling him out.
Okay. He
Blampide.
He does this guest booker thing where how he would have booked a certain angle or a certain feud, and he says he'd do it better.
Do you know what? It's worse than that, actually. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I've just remembered what he calls it. It's how they should have booked. It's not even as bad as... He's not even taking ownership of himself and saying how I would have booked. I'm almost certain it's how they should have done it.
It might be, yeah. The point I'm coming across is he thinks he's got all these good ideas, and I genuinely don't know who the booker is of this wrestling promotion.
Oh, I would guess.
I don't know if he's decided that he's going to do it because he does this guest booker thing. I don't know if they do it together. I don't know if they've gone to somebody in British wrestling and gone, we want to do this wrestling promotion. Can you help us out? And they've got somebody in that's a British wrestling legend or whatever, and he's doing the booking because he's experienced. It's a vanity project and it's fucking bollocks. That's my opening gambit to this. Dan's got a far more in-depth, detailed review / note system on his little machine there. I didn't write any notes because I didn't want to give it any time. Basically, it's a cunt show, right? So that's what I'm putting out there, right? You've got this cunt that walks out with a cardboard belt and he's like, oh, I'm going to present the real belt soon. And it's got this little What Culture Pro Wrestling logo on it. You've got the commentary team, which is a bloke dressed as a king.
Well, I remember a few weeks ago, because like for some, we subscribe to What Culture. Like I do occasionally watch their videos. Some are okay, some are annoying. I watched a video with him on it, and it's the first time I'd ever seen him. And I think I remember messaging you two and saying, "This guy is fucking annoying. He's just like he ruined the video for me." And he's the heel commentator, and he's awful all the way through it.
Yeah, like
It's just
heel commentators work if they've got a reason to be a heel. So like when Bobby Heenan was commentator, he was a manager of wrestlers. So like he's got a stake in the match.
And he understood the business too.
His
knowledge of the business was spot
this
on.
is going to come to my grand point in a minute. You've got Jerry Lawler when he was being a heel, and I think just before he got suspended, he was a heel as well.
Yeah.
Again, knowledgeable about the business, former wrestler, or when he was early days as a commentator, current wrestler, knows what he's talking about, might have a stake in the match or something larger because, you know, he's an active wrestler.
Yeah.
So you've got people that are involved in the business being a heel commentator. He's just there to be a dick, and it's not even entertaining. What the actual play-by-play guy, I've never seen him before.
No,
I don't know if
he's another What Culture guy.
Is he? I don't watch all the videos, but he doesn't pronounce Ligerio right in one of the things. I think he says Ligerio.
Oh, Jesus, that was nice.
I think he says Ligerio, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, you've pronounced it wrong. Michael Cole mixes up moves all the time. I don't really give that much of a fuck. That King guy, oh, you said Ligerio. Ligerio, what's his name? He corrected himself. He went, oh, Ligerio, right? And then when he said Ligerio, the guy went, do you mean Ligerio or Ligerio? Oh, he means Ligerio, mate, clearly.
Okay, now. What is that?
It's a fucking cunt show. That's what it is. I've told you what it is.
Cheers. Thank you. Genuinely. Thank you.
We're not reviewing show 2. Fuck that shit. Unless somebody dies on their show, we're not reviewing show 2. I'm putting a veto on it.
I'll quickly go through.
Yeah, you can go through this one.
I'll quickly go through the show.
So this is the first and last review of What Culture Pro Wrestling.
Unless something very newsworthy happens, I'll watch them just in case something. But unless something very newsworthy or very very important happens that we need to cover, like we'll probably do something with Damien Sandow when he's on the show. But we're not fucking doing this weekly because I've spent 3 hours watching Raw and we review that most weeks. We're not fucking reviewing this cunt show.
So yeah, like the first thing I noticed about the show is, like, you'll agree with this, the production value for the visual was really good.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It was on par with like most top UK promotions.
Yeah.
But the sound was fucking garbage. They just use the mics that are plugged into the camera by the sound of it, and that drives me insane. I know a lot of companies don't have a big budget, so it can't be helped, but this company definitely has a budget. They have their own offices. Like, What Culture has a big office and shit. They can afford decent equipment. They've got all this ridiculous production for their first show. You can afford to put a few mics in the crowd so you can actually hear the crowd in the matches. And there's something later on, which I'll get onto.
You mentioned the crowd. I think I know what it's going to be.
Well, in between every single match, at the beginning of the show, the end of the show, in between every match, the What Culture guys are all over the show. Now, on previous episodes of this, I've bitched about the McMahons, about how they're all over Raw, and like Stephanie's nowhere near as bad as this. It was so annoying. Like I couldn't give a fuck about it. I just want to see wrestling.
Yeah, it's a pure vanity project. That's what I said.
Rotten.
Like I don't know about you guys, but I've thought about, you know, if I had some money, how would I do an indie show, right? And I mean, to be honest, what I would do is, like, if I had like millions, I'd just do like a tribute show to New Generation. Of course I would, right? But I would not be on the show. At no point would I be on the show because, like, what's the point? Like, I'm not a wrestler. Well, you know.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. I've retired.
Not since your retirement.
But you know,
Joey Hayes.
But you know what I mean, though. Like, I wouldn't put myself out there because I'm not a performer. I wouldn't. This is as close as I get to performing, to be honest.
Every company I worked for, I only ever made one appearance, like, in the ring, and that's because there was literally no one else could do it, and I was just a corner man. Like, and it wasn't like I got announced or anything. It wasn't like I was on the mic or any bullshit like that.
Wasn't that for Barroom Barker?
No, it was for another company at Skegness.
Graeme, have you ever fantasized about having your own wrestling promotion?
No, I've never thought of that. I definitely never went through with it.
Oh no, would you ever put yourself on air?
No, definitely not. Especially not as like an announcer of any kind.
No, okay.
That'd be a terrible idea.
No, but my point is like they wanted to be the stars of the show.
Yeah. Joking aside, like there's levels.
Yeah.
And like because obviously a lot of people will do double duty, a lot of people will run it and then they'll do something else.
Yeah.
And I understand that. So sometimes it's purely economical, sometimes it's a vanity thing, but generally you have to find a balance between getting yourself involved and not taking everything over. Yeah. It really sounds like this lot took everything over.
They legitimately took everything over. So I'll quickly go through the match. The opening match was Alex Gracie versus Gabriel Kidd versus Joe Connors. Alex Gracie's alright. I've never seen Gabriel Kidd before, but Joe Connors looks like a fucking star in that match. First match in their promotion ends in a DQ.
What, a triple threat match?
It was an elimination match. So Joe Connors eliminates the first guy, Gabriel Kidd, and then Alex Gracie had a bunch of guys ringside with him who attacked him.
Did they have balaclavas?
No, there was no balaclavas on the show.
Not yet.
The second match was El Ligero versus Martin Kirby. This match has
Did you mean Ligero or Ligerio?
Ligerio. So this match has happened about 153 times, and it's always good.
I think that's genuinely a conservative estimate.
Yeah, it's always good. You can't go wrong with this match. Yeah. Both of them are great. Like, that's fine.
I've probably seen it in double figures.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just thinking that now. I think I've actually seen this match in double figures, which is fine. Like you said, it's always a good match.
The third match is Joe Coffey versus Prince Amin. I ain't seen Prince Amin in a little while. I'm happy to see him. That match ended in a count out, so the second fuck finish in 3 matches.
Prince Amin.
Money making Mo Montana.
Yeah.
There you go. You know it now.
Yeah, I know. I knew him before. Well, what's our opinions on Prince Amin as a wrestler?
I haven't seen him in ages. He wasn't very technically gifted, but he always...
I like the character.
Yeah.
One particular promo that I liked is it was in Balby, Doncaster in the United Kingdom.
Peru?
It might have been 1PW.
I wish I'd not wasted the old catchphrase on the earlier. No, if I'd known...
I don't know your money. And there was a rather gobby woman, mouthy, lippy, shouting stuff. And he just looked at her.
About Cocaine Lorraine here.
we might be talking about Cocaine Lorraine.
I'm going to add absolutely no context to that. Carry on.
And he looked at her and said, "In my country, you would be drowned." And for that line alone, he will forever be one of my favourites.
That's phenomenal.
He always used to wrestle the shows in Cresswell, and he was the smartest guy in the room because he'd do these 4-corner elimination matches, and he'd start the match by getting on the mic, cutting a huge promo, and then have someone roll him up and pin him and eliminate him straight away. He did this like 2 or 3 months in a row. Smart fucking guy. So yeah, that was the second foot finish. The main event was Joe Hendry versus Big Damo. Winner faces Rampage for the title in episode 2.
Joe Hendry had a good intro.
I was going to say, I actually saw that because I'm a big fan of Joe Hendry, so I follow all his intros and stuff like that. So I actually saw the intro from Joe Hendry.
Did you watch the separate video of the intro, or did you watch the actual match?
Separate video.
Because on the actual video of the match, I mentioned the sound problems, and they were using the mics on the camera. So Joe Hendry he's quite over, like, especially on the internet and stuff, from doing these really like inventive intros for each of his matches in ICW. They have him do this. He's doing this song that's about, you can't hear a fucking word of lyrics for 2 reasons. One, they haven't used the video audio into the feed, so you can't actually hear the lyrics properly. So then it's just the live audio, and it's just noise. And then you've got the annoying commentators, including Adam Blampede now, because he's managing Rampage, because he's the heel guy.
Of course he is.
Talking over the lyrics.
Fucking hell. Don't bring Joe Hendry then. Bring somebody else. Now, that's not saying... That's not a dig at Joe Hendry. He's very good. Like, once he's in the ring, he's perfectly technically competent, as well as, obviously, the whole intro thing. But if you're going to do that, just don't bring Joe Hendry. Bring someone else, or... Don't have him do the funny intro.
So yeah, the match was decent, but then had a
point out the one thing I didn't like about the match. They copied the thing he did in ICW. Do you know with the guy that cross dresses? I think
Mikey Whiplash.
Yeah, is it Mikey Whiplash that went to grab him from the back? He
was like, "I'm not having this," and just stormed backstage. And dragged him out.
They copied that open to the match with this video, and it does make sense. Like, why would anybody just do that? But I feel like they saw that and went, "Oh, how they should have booked."
Big Damo, I think, is the co-head trainer of Source Wrestling with Mikey as well.
Right.
So it makes sense that he'd do it as well.
But the other thing about that is, the whole point of this is it's the first show, right? So surely if you're introducing the guy with the gimmick that he plays funny videos to take the piss out of the opponent, you introduce him and you establish that and you establish that, and then someone like they did in ICW with Mikey Whiplash eventually went, you know what, all the rest of you can fucking stand for this. I'm not going to fucking stand for it. I'm going to go and get him and drag him out. There's no building to that now.
No, they just jumped straight to it. Yeah.
Straight in because they stole the idea.
Yeah. And then the show ended with them presenting the belt, so more What Culture guys. So you got to see the What Culture guys more than any actual wrestlers. It was really frustrating. You get the feeling that if it wasn't for those guys putting themselves on the show all the time, they'd probably have something half decent there.
It'd be we still won't be talking about it, but I just won't be annoyed.
Yeah, it's just they're all over it, and it's really annoying. Like the production things can be worked out. It's the first episode, but in terms of them being all over the show, you need complete less of it. You need commentators who know what they're talking about.
But like they're using one thing that annoyed me as well. Another thing that annoyed me is one of their What Culture guys is called Jack the Jobber, right? Which whatever you want to call yourself on YouTube, give yourself a funny name. That's fine. But then in the context of a wrestling show, is that not too self-referential? Like this is Jack the Jobber.
They continue to reference that. That cardboard belt they have, they feud between each other with it on YouTube. I haven't seen those videos.
I haven't seen them either.
They referenced that on the show, and I was just kind of confused. I'm like, they fight over cardboard belt. Anyway, I think we've spent enough time on this.
Yeah, this has been far too long.
Yeah, it definitely has both sides of things. Well, I'm glad I didn't watch it, and I'm also glad that I heard you two talk about it. Then let's talk about the best title ever, the American, US, and United States Championship, after this.
The best looking man, the best dressed man, long limousine, jet airplanes, custom made clothes, and any woman in the world I want. The Nature Boy!
You know, if I was to say to you guys, a legacy of greatness, what would I be talking about, do you reckon?
You got anything?
David Cameron's conservative leadership.
No.
Boris Johnson's Leave campaign.
No. What wrestling related would have a legacy of greatness?
The Legacy with Manu.
No, Sim Snuka, obviously. No.
The member of the Samoan family who's in the Cruiserweight Classic.
That looks.
He's actually related to them. I had to
he looks like a mini Roman Reigns. That's who he is. He's just like his fucking cousin.
Another cousin.
Like a proper cousin, not like, oh, I'm The Rock and I'm your mate. Cousin. No, the United States Championship.
I guess so.
We're not going to stop talking about American things. We're going to actually talk about them now. See what I did there?
In America.
Yeah. Yeah. US champ. So, first of all, hello to Danny Glover. Thank you for providing us with this DVD 2 review. And we have looked at several different matches. I've looked mostly at the little interstitial bits with JBL, so I'll be getting to them in a little while, which should be a bit of fun.
You got the fun assignment.
Oh, I did, yeah. Well, the whole thing begins with a sort of generic USA is good video package. One of these ones is like, there's a fucking eagle, and it's like a big flag, and like everyone's like, oh, fucking America's mint. Look at all these buildings that are in Washington. Ignore the slums next to it. It'll be fine. Everything's fine. And then it lists several people who have been the United States champion, as JBL sort of talked over it. And it's like, oh, all these guys have been US champion. Now, here we are. Enjoy this list. So, first person, Ric Flair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Second, John Cena.
Yeah.
Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rusev.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, Daryl's right there. Lex Luger.
Yep. Fucking love Lex Luger. Yep. When he had American pants on in WWF, you were meant.
Yeah. Not really related to that, but yeah. Booker T.
Yeah.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yep, that was actually on the start of his theme music and everything, wasn't it?
Yep.
Until they changed it. Second one was better, but it doesn't matter.
No.
Well. Stunning Steve Austin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston.
Oh, poor
you know that third of the UJ?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The one that sometimes jumps on chairs to make sure he don't get out of like battle royals and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Literally mentioned in the same context as Ric Flair, Rick Steamboat, Steve Austin, and Dusty Rhodes, who's the last one that's brought up. So, We progress from this video package to JBL talking over his own theme music, then over this sort of, again, generic USA is good sort of music. JBL can't look at the camera. He can't, like, he literally flips between looking straight down the camera, which I assume is what they're trying to do, get the whole address to camera thing, or like looking past it. And that's not the little shots where they're like filming from a side camera where, you know, the intentions are obviously like trying to film him from a different angle. There, this is literally just is like he flits between like looking straight at the camera and then looking away as if he's sort of drifted off into some kind of parallel universe. So that was a fun start. But the first match on this DVD, it's incredibly poor footage, but it is Ric Flair against Ricky Steamboat from Asheville, North Carolina. It may be the earliest footage they've got of a United States Championship defense. This is when it was still the Mid-Atlantic United States Championship. And Andre the Giant is the special guest referee. Now, the odd thing about this is Ricky Steamboat looks absolutely fucking jacked. He looks massive, right? Maybe I'm misremembering things, but I didn't always remember him being like quite a big guy. He was always sort of fairly athletic, but he was never sort of an upper body. Like, he looks fucking huge in this match. And it's not just compared to Ric Flair, it's just in general. And when you consider Andre the Giant's in the ring as well, it's like, he looks massive. He looks like roided to fuck. Now, he might be. I don't know. I'm not throwing any allegations out there. But he looks absolutely huge. And I guess the problem is that the footage is awful and the sound's crap. I'm quite glad that they included it in the sense that obviously it gives some kind of historical context to the Mid-Atlantic United States Championship before it becomes the National Wrestling Alliance's United States Championship. But whether it needed to be on there, I don't know. Maybe they could have shown clips or stuff. Incidentally, there are no clips surviving, or there was no video taken when Harley Race won the title for the first time. So there's sort of some implication there that he might have been talking bollocks, but I don't think I necessarily buy that.
Yeah, we're probably talking bollocks, mate.
Yeah.
What, Harley Race?
Yeah.
Surely not.
Yeah. Can I just a quick question?
Yep.
If this was the Mid-Atlantic United States title, then it changed to the NWA United States title.
It did.
Does this have a lineage to the NWA North American Heavyweight Championship?
No.
Okay. Just wondering.
I see what you're trying to do there. Any excuse to mention Jeff Jarrett in the NWA in the new generation. Well done. Cool. Match after this is NWA Worldwide, which is Roddy Piper against Greg Valentine. This is really odd because it's in a studio. So most of the action's filmed with a wall behind it. So there is a crowd there. There's like a very small crowd. But most of the stuff you see, there's actually a massive Union Jack behind it. And there's like 4, maybe 5 flags there. And obviously it's Roddy Piper before he was Rowdy Roddy Piper before he was the Hot Rod in WWE. And it's Greg Valentine before he was the Hammer in WWE. So they are like echoes of the people you recognize, but they're not the same person.
Yeah. It's
quite a good match. There's a bit of a theme with this DVD, which I'll get to in a bit, and I would include this in it. But there's also quite a good promo by Greg Valentine before and after. Because I can't remember now. I should have written this down, but somebody comes in and attacks Roddy Piper as well, and then Piper fights him off, and that's how the match ends. But it's quite interesting to see wrestling in a different environment, the sort of studio environment that I don't think I feel like maybe. Go on.
Did you never watch Memphis Wrestling on Wrestling Channel?
I didn't.
Oh,
no.
That was in a studio. That was shit, but it was good.
Was it? Good in the best shit way?
Yeah.
So then we move on to Tully Blanchard against Magnum TA. Now this is a I Quit Steel Cage match, so it's a double stipulation type thing for the, I believe by then it's the NWA United States Championship.
Yeah, this was 85 when it was definitely like NWA branded.
So it's sort of evolved from the Mid-Atlantic belt to the more famous National Wrestling Alliance belt at this point. I believe you watched this one as well.
Yeah, I watched this one. First thing I want to mention about it is our favourite barista, Tony Schiavone, is doing commentary. Yeah, and he's got a nice mustache.
I actually made a note about that later on. Yeah, Tony Schiavone's mustache for the win.
Yeah, he's got this little mustache, and it's him and Jim Ross commentating on this match, I believe.
Yes, I believe so.
But it was really weird, like watching the match, because on the version I watched it on the network, there was hardly any commentary on the match. Like they kind of just let the action play out on the network version.
There's not a lot of commentary on the actual DVD itself. I would say it's probably like unedited.
Yeah, it was really nice to watch it where they kind of just let the action in the ring, and this match was brutal. Like they both bled quite a bit, and it was pretty like stiff match, and it wasn't like it looked like a fight, which was really cool to see. It was just like rather than just doing the usual thing where they do a big spot and they puts the mic to him. Most of the match, they are just like rolling around with each other, trying to put the mic in each other's face, saying "quit, you bastard" or whatever. And
yeah, I would have to say this match is fucking brutal. Like,
yeah,
it really is, especially the finish.
Yeah, the finish was great.
It really was. The crowd's mad for it. The crowd's. I mean, obviously, it's one of these things. Wrestling crowds obviously were hotter back in the day. Various different reasons, not being smart, not having as many different things available to them, the internet, things like that. But the crowd is absolutely mad for this match. They fucking love it.
Yeah,
and it comes through.
The finish of the match was so great, where it's Tully Blanchard's already bleeding quite badly, and Magnum TA's got this like the wooden stake that's like a broken chair.
Well, remember, somebody throws a wooden chair into the ring. I think it might be Baby Doll.
Yeah,
Baby Doll is
Baby Doll.
Valley,
yeah. So she throws that in the ring. It gets Tully Blanchard breaks up to try and use it. Magnum TA gets hold of it, and he like stabs him in the head with it while Tully's still shouting no, and then starts properly stabbing him backwards and forwards in the head until Tully's just screaming like, "Yes, I quit, please stop."
Tully's screaming is harrowing. Like,
it's.
I don't imagine there was a great deal of selling involved in this. I think it was probably very physical, but it was great. Like, it was very engaging. Like, really, the first match so far that I could say that you absolutely should have had this match. This was definitely a match that you couldn't have done the DVD without.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
It really was.
You know, Tully Blanchard does motivational speeches in prisons now.
Really?
Yeah, I watched Table for 3 on Network the other day. It's Flair, Anderson, and Blanchard. Yeah,
he was another guy I met at the convention in Texas, and he was brilliant. He wrote a I can't say the word a quote from the Bible. He wrote it on 8x10 for us and was talking to us for a long time, and he just seemed like such a nice guy. Like, and it wasn't just because I'd handed him the money; he was genuinely interested in everything. He was a really cool guy.
And that signed quote is framed on Dan's what? Oh no, it's not.
It isn't. Sadly,
I think it's because it's a Bible quote, and he's not a big fan of the Bible.
We do have a signed picture of Noam Dar though, so I'm all right, to be honest. Bloody brilliant. JBL then comes back in, and
here he is to ruin things.
It's not far off that, yeah. Like, I thought, I really wasn't sure. I must admit, I went into it assuming I would hate it, and actually, not the DVD, but JBL's little sort of interstitial bits. And I didn't hate it as much as I expected to, but he's just so fucking annoying. And worse than that, because I do get the feeling that he really does love sort of watching all the sort of classic footage. Yet when he's on here saying, I love watching all that classic footage, it just, his face is frozen. He's like, got stone face, like, I love watching all the classic footage. It's so great. And
he seems to have got a bit one of those like Michael Gove faces that looks half melted. It's just kind of dead. And...
All right, well, let's not insult him too much. I mean, he's still a human being, Too far.
He's not solicited.
So obviously we've led out with Magnum TA winning the United States Championship from Tully Blanchard in the previous match, and then JBL goes on to talk about Koloff, Nikita Koloff coming in, and the huge feud between Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff, and some might say it's Cena Rusev for the Cold War generation. I wouldn't, because Cena Rusev ripped them off completely. Yeah. But nonetheless, it is still like a very famous feud, and in terms of establishing the US Championship, it's absolutely vital to that championship being what it is today. Especially when you consider, as I say, they sort of, I wouldn't say nicked the idea, but certainly ran with a similar one with the whole Rusev thing.
Yeah.
This was where I noted Tony Schiavone's moustache, by the way. This is where I really because he comes into the ring and announces, literally announces the match before he does anything else. I mean, the venue just looks packed for this one. It seems like a really sort of, I don't want to sound like a sweatbox, but it's because actually the space between the fans and the ring is actually quite great, but the venue just, so many people shrieking, screaming, and the venue just seems massive. Whether it is or not, I don't know. I didn't really look into that so much, but it seems massive, and that's what makes the match really seem like a huge deal. Now, I would say, in terms of everything we've seen so far, this is much closer to a modern match than maybe even some of the ones that we see after this, because there's a lot more high-impact moves than I expected in this, even when you look at, New Generation WWF stuff and times before that, like your what would you call rock and wrestling type of era.
Yeah.
I'd say there's actually a lot more sort of high impact wrestling in this match than you would see in a lot of those matches. Now, obviously, part of that is because of the intensity of the feud, but nonetheless, it's really interesting to see how similar this could be to something that you might see today. There's piled right Magnum TA. Basically, the finish is Magnum TA hits Khrushchev, who's with Koloff, with a pile driver on the floor. And I don't mean like, on protective mats. I mean like on the fucking floor, like full on like concrete and everything. And that looks brutal as hell. But then he gets back into the ring, and I think it's off the distraction that he was it. Did you watch this match?
I didn't watch this match.
Okay, well, fair enough. Okay. Well, that wasn't. I think part of the reason I didn't really notice the finish as much was because when it happened, everyone stands up in anger. Like, you wouldn't really see that now. In terms of reasons why people get up, the reason people get up is someone's won a match and they can all run forward, or they're cheering or anything else like that. I've never seen, well, maybe not never, but certainly haven't seen for a long time, the sort of rage that you really feel off the building when the Russian, Nikita Koloff, has won the United States Championship. And I guess it's the sort of thing they were looking to achieve with the whole Cena and Rusev thing, and they did to some degree. But nonetheless, it's a really sort of electric moment because you feel the people's anger. And it's not quite as bad as starting a riot, but you would absolutely believe that one could break out. And it's a credit to this feud of how important it was to that to the championship that it's God, I've lost what I was saying, but anyway, that is quite good.
Yeah.
There's a weird bit after this. So JBL comes back on and he talks about Nikita Koloff taking the championship and then Nikita Koloff losing the championship. And he talks about Koloff losing it to Lex Luger, but he skims over the fact that Luger was the heel because basically after Koloff beat Magnum TA and then Magnum TA had his career-ending injury, Koloff then turned face with Dusty Rhodes to face the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
And that was what led to the match between Luger and Koloff, where Koloff lost the title. But it's skimmed over. It's really odd, because JBL almost presents it as if like, oh, well, the Russian won the US Championship, but don't worry, the American got it back later, which is what happened. But by the time that Luger got it back, and you can tell from the audio in the background of the clip, people are not happy about that, because Koloff made a huge face turn. I think he disregarded Khrushchev, he disregarded Ivan Koloff, the former WWF World Champion, and became quite a big face for the NWA at that time, where he was basically anyone who was aligned with Dusty Rhodes was a huge face. So this leads into the Sting and Luger match, or the only Sting and Luger match that we've got on this DVD, which it's again odd because you get very used to seeing Sting and Lex Luger sort of teaming together, working together, and it's well known that they're obviously very good friends. In this match they're like polar opposites. Like, they're not getting along as well at all. One thing that did make me laugh was that Flair comes out to rescue Sting at the end of the match. I was like, that'll definitely end well. I bet Ric Flair will definitely not turn on you after this one. I didn't even know the context of where it was, but you just know with Sting trusts anybody. He's like, oh, I've got a little mate. Oh no, he's turned on me again. Bloody hell. Classic.
It's a bit clingy, Sting.
Stingy. Cling. No, it doesn't work, does it?
When that many people turn on you, have you ever thought the problem might be you?
So the DVD then jumps ahead. I'm not. I mean, it doesn't jump directly in the way I'm sort of putting it, but it jumps forward, and we come on to the reign of Goldberg. So this is Goldberg against Raven from Nitro after Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, the Nitro match, the Raven's Rules one.
Yes, so it's Raven's Rules, Raven against Goldberg. Raven's won the title the night before, I believe.
Yeah.
And he has this match with Goldberg, which is, I mean, it's not the start of Goldberg's push because by this point they're already billing him as 73-0, but it's where he starts to head up the card.
Yeah.
Now, you guys both watched this match, didn't you?
No, I've seen this one before, but I didn't watch it when we were doing this DVD.
Right, okay, yeah, that's fine. Well, Dan, you watched this more recently, and obviously, Daryl, say you've actually seen the match before as well. It interested me that the way I sort of came out of it was that it was overbooked, but it was glorious.
Yeah.
Like, it was exactly how it needed to be. You've got the up-and-coming babyface, Goldberg, going against the dastardly heel who's finally got a title, who's got all his mates in the flock behind him, and nonetheless, not the underdog, obviously, it's not the same thing, but the powerful heel is still able to smash through all the barriers in his way and achieve his goal of winning the United States Championship.
Yeah, you watch this match and you realise, oh yeah, that's why Goldberg's a massive star. He just runs through Raven and the flock in this match, and the crowd's really into him and everything. It's just, okay, you can see now why this guy became such a big, important part of WCW.
Absolutely, and he continued to retain the United States Championship. In fact, when he faced Hulk Hogan for the World Championship, that same night he'd also beaten Scott Hall for the US Championship, which enabled him to go on and face Hogan at the Georgia Dome. And they showed clips of him winning the world title at the Georgia Dome, and then talked about the fact that he relinquished the belt. And then JBL comes back in and he talks, well, this is JBL's talking about all this, obviously, and he comes back and says that DDP encompasses the great American spirit, which is really odd because, like, don't get me wrong, I think that DDP encompasses the great American spirit. DDPyoga.com or whatever. We love you, DDP. Please keep retweeting us. But it just seems like all of a sudden they're like, and DDP, who was really bloody good at being American and stuff, but they don't go on to show him
American
win
made.
the title. Just, he encompasses the great American spirit. So this is where I left the second DVD. The third DVD is where it starts to become WWE's version, first initially of the WCW United States Championship, so when the WCW invasion happened, and then moves on to the actual WWE United States Championship. Now, just before I do that, there's a bit where he talks about Lance Storm winning the championship, and obviously Lance Storm reunited the Canadian Heavyweight Championship or whatever it was, with the label on it and everything, which was brilliant. Let's be honest, that was pretty funny. But JBL completely struggles to keep a straight face when talking about Lance Storm as one of the greatest United States champions of all time.
Yeah, he's probably not one of the greatest, but there's people on this DVD that also aren't the greatest, so, like...
What, you're playing? Are you saying something about Test?
No, I'm actually not.
You better not.
No,
don't say all about Test.
Test one of my favourites.
Test against Edge from Survivor Series 2001 is on this DVD.
Yeah.
Is Test still dead?
I will check.
Live update.
It's been
is
a
Test
while.
still dead? I realise that it won't have been updated, but I just wanted to do it anyway because out of my whim, Daniel. Yes, Test is still dead. Oh, sorry everybody, Test is still dead. Thanks everyone.
It's not been updated since the last time.
No, it hasn't. No, I know, but we're still going to keep checking.
Well, why would you not update that every day? It's one word.
Exactly.
I'll take the account.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
You'd set up a tweet deck, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Just yes. But then it jumped the shark for me when he said no that one time. A lie, innit? You watched Undertaker against Kurt Angle.
Are we skipping the Greed 2001 match?
Oh my god, yeah. I am by accident. Sorry, I completely...
Oh, is that on the documentary section?
It is, sorry. My apologies. There's a whole section that I must have completely missed.
Yeah, because I watched a match from like 92 era. Wasn't thing. I didn't know if it was like on a special feature or something. Or...
No, it's all in the title. Sorry, I've been moving so far ahead that I had it in my head that you were going to talk about Angle and Undertaker, but I forgot actually. Let's go back to what Dan was going to say first of all, and then we'll move on to the 2001 Greed match.
Well, I'll just quickly talk about the match I watched, which was Steve Austin versus Great Muta. This was during the era where I think Bill Watts took back over as Booker, and I'm guessing it's that era because of the finish. So the match is really good. It's Steve Austin in his early days, a Stunning Steve with Colonel Parker with him. Great Muta's there in his early stage, who's really great by that point. It's a really good match, but then the finish is Great Muta's kind of clearing house. So Steve Austin runs at him and Great Muta backdrops him over the top rope. So it ends in a DQ because over the top rope is a DQ, which is kind of a bit of a shit finish. But it was a really great match, and it was during a time where the WCW... It looked like Steve Austin was going to progress up the card after winning the United States title, but instead he got teamed with Brian Pillman. Did all right.
Can I just say something just about the whole over the top rope rule? Do you remember when Adam Pearce was the NWA champion and he had the champion for champion match against Nigel McGuinness in Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember someone specifically saying, like 2 or 3 weeks before that match was booked, this is how it's going to end. Nigel McGuinness will throw Adam Pearce over the rope. Adam Pearce will come back into the ring. Nigel McGuinness will beat him, but then someone will reverse the decision because the NWA rules state that you can't throw someone over the top rope. What do you think happened in the actual match?
Probably that exact thing.
Yeah, that exact thing. Yeah. So
that's disappointing, that, isn't it?
it is, especially.
Why do you have a rule like that?
I don't even think they still use that rule.
It was like an early, like 70s and 80s rule, and then when Bill Watts came in as Booker, he decided the thing that's ruining WCW right now is all these new modern inventions. Let's go back to taking all the mats away from the outside of the ring, no over the top rope, it's a DQ, all that stuff. I don't think he lasted 6 weeks.
It lasted long enough to put Ron Simmons as the champion.
Yeah, he did.
For perfectly legitimate reasons. Nothing to do with diverting attention.
What?
Nothing. Move on.
Okay.
Talk about greed.
Okay, so one of the matches I watched was Greed 2001, which is the champion, the United States champion Rick Steiner, the dog-faced gremlin, versus...
Your favourite Steiner.
Yeah, my favourite Steiner. Versus Booker T. Now, I wrote a quote down, and I don't know, this must be from one of the pre-match promos or something, because all it says is, I forgot about all the player haters in the back. So, I don't know why Booker T forgot about him.
Was that Booker T that said that? I thought that would have been a quote from Rick Steiner.
I've got a quote from Rick Steiner, don't worry.
Okay.
So then, what I like about both these guys is that before the music, it's got the little catchphrase. So Booker T's obviously, don't hate the player, hate the game. Then it cuts into his music. And Rick Steiner's is, you want some? Come get some. You don't like me? Bite me. And then it plays the music. While Rick Steiner's beating piss out of him, he then shouts, you think you can take my belt? You ain't taking shit. And then proceeds to beat him up again.
Brilliant.
Rick Steiner puts on the laziest fucking chin lock I've seen in my life. You can show me a million Randy Orton like chin locks. This one by Rick Steiner takes the fucking piss.
It probably makes it worse because he beats the fuck out of people and then puts on just...
Yeah, he just sits there for... fuck knows how long, but he sits there for what seems like forever. And Booker T's selling it, like properly selling it, and he's just lazily just sat there, just with it on, hardly any facial expression, just heavily breathing because he's fucked.
This was after his feud with Chucky, wasn't it?
Way after, yeah.
I imagine so, yeah.
Probably considering the company closed like the next night or whatever it was, it probably would have been.
So, leading into the finish, Booker T kicks him in the stomach, and then he goes for a scissor kick, but between kicking him in the stomach and going for a scissor kick to back of head, he spends a good 15 seconds just celebrating with the crowd. So he kicks him in the stomach, turns around and starts like waving his hands.
That's right, yeah, I saw this as well. Yeah, he did. That was really strange.
Yeah. Like, it takes forever, and then he does the scissor kick.
Maybe that was Triple H's revenge at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he's getting retribution for Rick Steiner.
I'm gonna get retribution for my boy, the dog-faced gremlin Rick. You think you can fucking fuck around and wait and just somebody's just gonna wait for you? Well, fuck it. Pedigree, 20 minutes later, I'll pin you. Prick. People like you. Carry on.
So I don't know if Rick Steiner kicks out of it or if Booker T just does the spinneroonie straight away. But he
does kick out of it.
Does it? Okay, so he goes for
kicks out of the scissor kick.
Yeah.
The ghetto blaster.
See, I avoided calling it that.
Yeah, funnily enough, they dropped that when they went to the WWE.
Did they?
Can't imagine why.
So he does the spinneroonie. The announce team, which is, do you know who the announce team is down on this one?
Tony Schiavone, Mark Madden? No? Is it
not Mark Madden? I just heard a really fucking annoying voice and assumed that's who it was.
Mike Tenay?
No.
Oh,
he's commentated in WWE before.
Oh, fuck.
Really?
Yeah, with Arn Anderson.
Oh, the man, the myth, the legend.
Scott Hudson.
Tony
Schiavone.
WCW's lead announcer for 2 shows. Because they hadn't picked up anybody else's contracts because they hate Schiavone and they couldn't be asked with Mike Tenay.
So yes, he does a spinneroonie, but they just don't acknowledge it. They don't even say like, "What's he doing?" in the middle of a match. They say, "Oh, that's the spinneroonie," or what? It's probably not called a spinneroonie at that point, but they just do.
I think they do say that's the spinneroonie.
No, they don't acknowledge it.
Sure?
Because I wrote it down. They do not acknowledge it.
Oh, weird.
Then it's the motherfucking franchise, guys.
That's right. Yeah. Jesus Christ, I forgot that about this match.
So Shane Douglas is just there. He's got a cast on his arm. I've put Steiner did him wrong. They probably explained it. I don't remember what happened. He cracks Rick Steiner back at head. Ref takes a bump somewhere. Cracks Rick Steiner back at head. Booker T does bookend / rock bottom. Gets the pin. And they then announce that being the US champ makes you the automatic #1 contender for the World Heavyweight title.
Oh, is that always the case, or was that just now considering that they had to get the title off of Scott
I genuinely don't know.
I'll get in on that one. Basically, they did that because the WWE sale was already going through.
Well, see, I didn't know if it was.
Sale.
I don't know if it was because obviously Goldberg was the US champ when he won the world title, so I didn't know if they did it all the time. I just thought, did they not?
No.
It wasn't a rule. I think it's just something. I think they would tend to do that more often than WWE would do. Intercontinental champion means that you're. But nonetheless, it wasn't like a rule as such. Although I think maybe when it was the NWA, it was a rule, wasn't it? Wasn't it usually that like whoever was the United? Oh, there was something like that.
See, the only thing I know like this is that bullshit TNA do where if you win the X Division title, you can cash it in for a world title shot.
But only at not Generation X. Destination X.
Because they're currently doing some bullshit with Mike Bennett, who's trying to win the X Division title so he can do that.
What, TNA are doing some bullshit? What a strange thing. Speaking of which, by the way, I think you know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I know that we've always said we'll never cover TNA, right? And I am breaking this rule next week for one match alone. And one match. Daryl, can you tell us what match that is?
But all I've seen is like a trailer for it. It's Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy. In the ring, it all began.
Like the actual ring, it all began. You know, in the little, like we talked about the skit a couple of weeks ago, like that actual ring that it all began in. That one. The one that it all began
All
in.
I'm saying in the trailer is Jeff Hardy fires what looks like a rocket launcher at Matt Hardy.
Jeff Hardy's house burned down and he's firing rocket launchers around.
Probably how it happens.
Fucking hell. Anyway, this is not wrestling.
Now
this is TNA. So let's move.
Right, so we jump into WWF now.
Yes, let's jump to the WWF and let's jump to, as you mentioned, your Undertaker against Kurt Angle match.
Yeah, so this is partway through the Alliance feud. I saw this on the network, so I saw an angle before it, which is Stephanie talking to Kurt Angle. Did you guys watch this match? Did you see it?
On the DVD, it's just the match.
Okay, so she talked to Kurt Angle, and they're talking about Vince has said that someone's going to leave the Alliance, but they don't know who it is, and obviously it turns out to be Kurt Angle. He jumped ship, but he's in the Alliance at this point. So at the end of the promo, he's got, I don't know where he gets it from because he's got his singlet on, but it's shot from the waist up. He picks up this Stone Cold Steve Austin hat, baseball cap, and puts it on his head, and he just looks like the biggest fucking dork.
He comes out in it. No,
he does come out in it, but in the promo he's got it on it. It just looks so funny. He comes out with a belt. Did you notice, Graeme, that he just looks like he fucking picked it up out of a bin?
Yeah, he really does. Oh, the fuck! I genuinely think leading into that Survivor Series, they were like, "Oh, we need somebody to be the United States champion for a little bit." Kurt Angle's an American bloke. Just do Kurt Angle for a bit, and then he must have fucking lost it to Edge or some cunt.
Yeah,
I think it was Edge, in fact, because Edge faces Test at as we mentioned, Edge against Test.
Yeah,
Test is still dead.
So there was something with Kane the week before where Angle and Austin battered Kane or something, or did just Angle batter Kane? Yeah,
it wasn't mentioned. Well, it was mentioned. Maybe I'm literally yawning. It's that.
Maybe it was what I saw then, because obviously I saw a little bit before that.
Yeah.
On the network. The match was all right, I guess. It wasn't really anything. I don't know why it's on the DVD. It's not really.
Is it? I reckon part of it could be just to get the Undertaker on the DVD and.
I imagine so, because like the stuff that we've covered, other than Rick Steiner versus Booker T, seems to be like monumental. Oh, that's the point I wanted to make about this, as well as I don't see how this was a monumental sort of like legacy United States title, but
not really.
I suppose my matches that I've covered aren't really monumental moments.
How odd for you.
I know. But yeah, so like I don't get why this is on the DVD, other than the reasons you said. That is it to get Undertaker a payday?
Probably.
For royalties on the DVD.
Well, it's definitely not to get fucking Kurt Angle a payday, is it? Jesus, no. They don't want him to have that. It's the Undertaker's like, oh, I had a match for that title once. Chop me on the DVD. What? But you never even want to put me on the DVD. All right, well, will you come back and do wrestling? I'll think about it. All right, okay. Don't beat me up, Mr. Undertaker. Both your wives look the same.
So he comes down to rolling.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that's still on the DVD as well, which is why
good.
I'm so confused. Why do they sometimes edit it and sometimes not? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it comes down to rolling. Everyone's favourite Undertaker theme, other than
You've done it now. You've gone and made a big mistake. Better than the instrumental version, that one.
Yeah. Why would you have the instrumental version? Why does that exist?
I don't even know.
There's not really much to say about this match because it's basically just a match to sort of get Austin to come down and pag it fuck out of Undertaker because that's how it ends, really.
Yep.
See, when I looked at the match listing, I was thinking, I should really watch something from this era, but there wasn't a single match that caught my attention on this section of the DVD.
Well, there was another match on the third DVD that I think is worthwhile talking about, and we could talk about the Cena and Rusev match. I didn't.
Which one is it?
I genuinely
WrestleMania one or?
I don't know. I genuinely don't remember. I wrote it down somewhere and I've forgotten.
If it's the WrestleMania one, then the highlight is him coming out in the tank.
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah. I remember that about that WrestleMania match is that the best part was at the start, and even I'll agree with that. And I'm not like Dan's, Rusev #1 fan club.
It's because I knew how it was going to end.
Yeah, we did really. And it is a logical end, but
yeah, I wasn't.
You did
happy
still
with
cry,
it.
didn't you?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's all right. We tried his tears.
I'm glad it started up again now.
But let's talk about the definite, real, and absolutely 100% actual main event of WrestleMania 20, which is John Cena against The Big Show, which definitely was the main event. It was the biggest match on that show. Just you.
I thought the main event was Triple H versus Shawn Michaels.
Versus Stevie Richards.
What?
Oh, Triple H and Shawn Michaels compete for the world title. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I'd forgotten that one. Yeah. Well, if you go, I remember you and I at WrestleMania 27. Not 27, we didn't go to that one, 29. Yeah, and in the program, they have pages from all the WrestleManias. And on WrestleMania 20, you turn it over, there's this fucking massive picture of Cena. Like, I swear to God, it's 75% of the page holding the United States Championship. And then there's like a little bit of the Rock and Sock connection against Evolution. And there might even be a picture of Triple H in his like white boots and trunks. Yeah. And it might be Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero.
Possibly.
Because they're not ashamed of mentioning him. And with good reason. Speaking of which, I forgot there's... Oh, well, doesn't matter. Yeah. So, John Cena against Big Show.
Yeah, so John Cena's over as fuck.
He really is. I made that note. There's a fucking massive Cena chant when it starts. And Cena, even then, he really has the crowd in the palm of his hand. You can see why, at this point, they were like, yeah, this is our guy. Absolutely. And even though, at the time, I remember thinking... I don't remember thinking at the time, they're grooming this guy to be the top guy. You can see why, looking back. Yeah. Because, I mean, we all know...
It was pretty organic.
We all know how good he is now. I mean, admittedly, it went down afterwards, and there's a lot of people who complained about it. I never did, but there's a lot of people who were. They are wrong, because you watch this match, and you're like, he's only been in WWE for maybe a year or two. No, he's been over a year, because he did the rap battle at 19.
Yeah, he debuted in 2002, and this is 2004.
Yeah. But this is, I believe, his first major
his first WrestleMania as well.
Yes.
He did the rap battle in 19, his first match at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And I tell you what's really odd about watching this match is hearing Let's Go Cena and just Let's Go Cena. It's actually, genuinely, it's like, in your head, you're like, something's weird.
Your brain just puts it in there. Like, right, that sounded weird.
Yeah, it does. You're like, Let's Go Cena, Let's Go Cena. There's no counterpoint to it, which is great. I enjoyed it more, if anything. But it's so funny how that's become so ingrained in our minds that, Let's Go Cena sucks thing just always happens.
He gives Big Show an FU.
Yep.
That's the thing I really remember this match, like him lifting him up.
Yeah.
It's the first time you'd seen him do a proper feat of strength, and it's really cool.
Yeah, so that's like a proper WrestleMania moment, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Until he did it every fucking time he wrestled
25, he did it to Big Show and Edge at the same time.
Yeah.
He was there.
Like, this is like one of my pet peeves where every time he gives Big Show an FU, or an attitude adjustment as it's now called, the announce team go, oh my God, he's picked Big Show up. He's given the time he did it to Mark Henry pissed me off the most, because Mark Henry weighs less than the Big Show. Oh my God, he's picked Mark Henry up. Oh, he's giving him the attitude adjustment. Well, yeah. Like, a few years ago, he did it to Big Show. He does it to Big Show every fucking week.
Did to Great Khali and all.
Yeah, so like...
Great Khali was billed as heavier than Mark Henry.
Probably.
Great Khali had a lot less mobility to help him up as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, so like, I think at the time this was like a proper WrestleMania moment, the slamming of Big Show, because not in the same way as Hogan slamming Andre, because obviously that they would like the two fucking big stars, and as much as John Cena is a big star now, he's never going to match Hogan, and at the time obviously he didn't match Hogan, but like it was a big guy is in terms of like size, slamming the biggest guy on the roster, which I think is impressive.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, I really enjoyed this DVD. I must admit, if I hadn't been presented it, I probably wouldn't have purchased it, because I feel like the United States Championship, even compared to the Intercontinental title, and even though it has a different history from obviously WCW and NWA, and I think there's definitely an argument to be made that it was probably more prestigious at various times than the Intercontinental Championship was, I think it lacks a bit of the luster, even as early as like the mid-90s.
I think the issue with a lot of these DVDs is you just got match.
Yeah.
It's like there's no... I think you need a documentary in it with matches as extras.
And when there is a documentary, it's fucking JBL.
Yeah, but...
Like a very short...
Yeah, you know what I mean? They're
It's
like
not
a feature
proper.
length or like an hour documentary.
Yeah.
Like the Four Horsemen DVD, the ECW DVD, things like that. They're more interesting as purchases for me, especially because we're all subscribed to the network. There was a few matches that weren't on the network, which obviously they're to entice you buying the DVD. But like so you covered the Ric Flair match, which before we went on air, I said I really wanted to see.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have bought the DVD for something like that.
Yeah.
So as a purchase, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But if you just subscribe to the network, you'll get a lot of matches from that.
Yeah, the thing I was going to say about it, looking at the match listing and everything, it kind of shows how little the title means now. Because you look at the early matches and it's proper huge main eventers. Because the title then was kind of used, okay, if you're not in the world title feud, we'll put you in this, where it's you against an up-and-coming guy. So you had Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and people like that. In the early 90s, it was definitely the up-and-comers belt, but most times it was you go from the US title to the world title. Like Goldberg was probably the last big guy to do it. In the WWE, there's been very few people like John Cena is probably the only example I can think of offhand of someone who actually worked his way up, won the US title, then won the world title.
Eddie Guerrero did it as well.
Eddie Guerrero.
He won the United States tournament when they brought it back, and then he won the WWE title.
So yeah, and it kind of shows that how, like, you look at the legends who had the WCW title, had the US title in the 90s.
Edge won the WCW United States title and then won the WWE World Heavyweight title.
How long was the gap between those two?
Oh, years, but
Yeah.
was it?
4 years.
But yeah, there was a definite gap there.
Yeah,
Like,
I get what you mean. Like,
Yeah, I was just being a dick.
I know, of course you were. So, I have a game for you both. Well, it's more of a quiz than a game.
Okay.
And,
I don't know how I feel about this.
1-on-1, Dan against Daryl.
Fuck's sake.
So, question 1, and this is a multiple choice question. Which one of these has never held the United States Championship? Is it Jimmy Snuka, Randy Savage, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, or Roddy Piper?
Dan, Roddy Piper?
Incorrect. Daryl, do you want
So
to...
it passes over. Can you read me the options again?
Well, Randy Savage, Jim Duggan, Jimmy Snuka, and Roddy Piper, but obviously you're Roddy Piper.
Jimmy Snuka.
Wrong. It's Randy Savage. Randy Savage never won the United States Championship. Jimmy Snuka won it like years before.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Number 2. This is another multiple choice question. Which one of the following did not hold the United States Championship in both WCW and WWE? Is it Eddie Guerrero, Big Show / The Giant, Bret Hart, or Booker T?
Daryl. Eddie Guerrero.
Wrong.
Fuck.
Eddie Guerrero defeated Diamond Dallas Page to win the United States
It's on the
Championship.
DVD,
It's
isn't
on
it?
The DVD.
Of course it is.
To watch the DVD.
You didn't give me the DVD.
Can you read the options again, please?
Yes, I can. So, Eddie Guerrero, which is wrong. Big Show / The Giant, Bret Hart, and Booker T.
Oh, I think I know it now.
Big Show.
Yes, you're correct. It's Big Show. Big Show never held the title in WCW, but he did hold it in WWE. He's a one-time
Yeah, because
champion.
Bret Hart won it from, was it Heath Slater or something like that?
Yeah, Bret Hart won it when he came back.
The Miz. Don't
The Miz, sorry.
diss The Miz and call him Heath Slater, mate. The Miz plus Heath Slater's never won out apart from a tag team championship. Number 3. Ric Flair holds the record for most United States Championship reigns with 6. Can you name 3 living competitors who are one behind?
When did this quiz happen, by the way? Because
is it today?
No, have you just made the quiz now?
I made the quiz yesterday.
Okay, that's fine then. I don't know if you nicked it from somewhere.
Yeah, I made it yesterday. It's all me.
Okay.
All me.
Right.
Come on then.
Oh, are we not? Have we not? Oh, no, of course we've not got options.
Of course we haven't, yeah.
So he's held 6, and we need people that have got 5.
Yes.
John Cena.
Oh, hang on. Surely we.
Yeah, you should still buzz in. So.
Dan. John Cena.
Okay, that's 1 for Dan. Yep. John Cena. Who else?
Dan Booker T.
No.
No.
Incorrect. Right. I'm taking you out the board now. Daryl, if you can give us.
How many do I need?
There's 2 more.
There's 2. Oh, so there's only 3 that have got 5 then.
There's only 3 living.
Do I come back into play if he gets one wrong?
Yeah, why not? That'll be funny.
Okay.
There's only 3 who are alive. There are like 6 or 7, but there's only 3 who are alive.
Let's go for Harley Race.
Wrong. Daryl, you're back. Dan, you're back in play. I'm going to give you both one more guess. Right.
Okay.
I'm going to go to each of you. Dan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this is tough. I'm going to go for no one, Tully Blanchard.
Incorrect.
No.
Daryl, see if you can steal a point to tie it up at 2-2.
DDP.
No, the other 2 are Lex Luger and Bret Hart.
Okay.
I thought you would have known Bret Hart, I must admit.
See, I nearly guessed Bret Hart, but then I didn't think he'd have won it 4 times in WCW before he won it the once in WWE, but obviously I'm wrong.
There you go. So this one can't pass over because it's a true or false.
Okay.
So it'll just be a case of first to the buzzer. True or false? Dustin Rhodes has won the United States Championship more times than his father, Dusty.
Dan, true.
Yes, it is true. Dustin Rhodes won the United States Championship twice. Dusty Rhodes only won it once. For a bonus point, though, can you tell me which one of them has the longest cumulative reign? So across the reigns that they had.
Dan, Dusty Rhodes.
Wrong. So I can't give Daryl the point.
Can you not pass that over?
I can't pass that one over. But actually, Dustin's 2 reigns encapsulated more time than Dusty's one. Question number 6. Who holds the record for the shortest United States title reign?
Daryl. Is it Daryl? Sting.
Wrong. Dan, can you get this one?
I genuinely have no idea.
You could guess.
Just guess a wrestler.
Chavo Guerrero. Oh. And he was the ECW title,
I don't
wasn't
think
he?
he's ever won it. No, it's Steve Austin.
Oh, okay.
And I'll explain that one later, but there's another question that links into it. So, question number 7. Who has more United States title reigns, Dolph Ziggler or Kofi Kingston?
Oh, fuck me. Daryl. Dolph Ziggler.
Wrong! No, you can't have that one, I'm
Yeah,
afraid,
it's fine.
Dan, but nonetheless, that's incorrect. Kofi Kingston has 3. Dolph Ziggler only ever won it once. He's won
It
these.
just feels like
It's
forever.
Exactly, that's why I picked these 2, because I thought, fucking hell.
I'm
I
sure
feel
they had like about a billion matches for that belt.
Well, I think it's basically just because they swapped between this and the Intercontinental title, and no matter what belt was in the company, it's like, oh, chuck them on to have a match. Question number 8, true or false? So again, buzz in, obviously. Excluding the new WWE Women's Championship, the United States Championship is the only active title not to have been won and lost on the same show.
Daryl. False.
No, it's true. So the United States Championship has never been won and lost on the same show in matches. The only exception to this was Steve Austin's reign as US champion. I believe maybe his second reign lasted 35 seconds after he was awarded the belt, and then lost it immediately to Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, I see. That's what I meant.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit. And number 9, who is the longest reigning United States champion in history? I'm not talking about cumulative reign. I'm just talking about who has the longest reign.
Fuck no.
I'll give you a hint. It was pre-WWE
Oh, fuck's sake.
and post-Mid-Atlantic. It's NWA or WCW.
I'll take a guess. Dean Malenko?
No, not Dean Malenko. Bloody Lex Luger.
Oh,
Dean Malenko held the belt for a
he-
fucking long time.
It's a
Can you
whole
pass that over to me?
Oh, I should have. Fuck no.
Is it Lex Luger?
Yeah. Well, even if you'd fucking got. Yeah, okay. Well,
With that double point,
you
double
still-
point bonanza.
No, you still lose 3-2. So I'll even give you that point.
Thanks, mate.
An absolutely pitiful 3-2 score by both of you. Which, if anything,
I'll fucking make it for next week, and we'll see who fucking real fucking people are, won't we?
Last time you prepared something for the show, we had to cut it for taste reasons.
And on that bombshell, royalgrumble.podbean.com. You can find us on Twitter at royalgrumblepod. Send us an email at royalgrumblepod@gmail.com. royalgrumblepod@gmail.com. I can see you looking at me like that. Don't. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you mean Ligerio?
Oh, fucking brilliant. royalgrumble.weebly.com is our website, and you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/royalgrumble. That is all. Say goodbye, Dan.
Bye.
Say goodbye, Daryl.
Goodbye, Daryl.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.